Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Innocent Villains podcast. It's been like 3 weeks since we had something with you.
Yeah, it's been a minute. And I text you almost every day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't make it every week like I'd like to, but unfortunately, I do text you about every 2 days and say I miss yelling at the internet because this shit just continues to get so wild.
Yeah, and something that's really going to make you want to yell at a transition is Ben Shapiro. So, guys, if you're Gen Z, if you're a guy, you grew up with Ben Shapiro for about a decade and a half. He was like the only conservative in media,
right.
And we basically learned everything from him. We got our belief system from him. Well, he shat in our faces a couple days ago. He went on the Triggernometry podcast, and listen to what he had to say about Americans not being able to afford to live where their parents and their grandparents grew up.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities.
That's why.
So what do you think about that? Because I have some words.
Now I think what he's trying to say is the Jews didn't get kicked out of 108 different nations. They simply just followed new freaking options, I guess. You know, like that's...
I just think it's very funny how he wants to project...
That was so low IQ. That statement was so low IQ.
I just think it's really funny how he wants to project his culture on us. Here's the thing. For the majority of America, Ben is correct. The thing that he neglects to mention is that America was a new nation. So we were discovering more land. Of course, we were moving westward. We were moving forward. We had the 13 colonies, and then we decided, we're going to have explorers. Right. And those explorers were really comfortable finding new places and continuing to venture onward to the west. Right. So yes, of course you're going to have the entire history of this country thus far. In almost 250 years, people have been settling new places because more people have been coming in because it was a brand new country. So conversely, though, when we look at it now, and there have been generations of people, he's speaking about New York in that clip with the people from Triggernometry, and they're talking about Mamdani, and he's going, yes, the unaffordability crisis, no, don't worry about that.
Right. That doesn't exist.
Move to a different place. And it's like, people have grown up in these places for generations. Right. This is the American dream. You and I were sold these things.
Well, and imagine even think on a low level. I mean, I'm not going to dox ourselves on where we live, but
please
like
don't.
where I grew up, it's not even necessarily a nice, fancy neighborhood. It's not a fucking anywhere close to New York prices.
Oh, but it's safe.
But it's safe, and it's also a good school district.
Heavily
and all that
policed
compared to the areas around us.
Correct.
And now we're sitting in a position where I can't afford to live in the neighborhood that my parents raised me. You know, like and that's just it's what happens. But quite frankly, with the Republicans, especially Ben Shapiro and Trump earlier this week, coming out and saying that there's no affordability crisis, it's just a slap in the face.
It's a fucking slap in the face.
To every single person, just like, I mean, we're going to cover it later when Matt Walsh said something about, the affordability crisis and don't be such a doomsdayer. And, he's got kids that are grown up, like he's not a millionaire. Like Ben Shapiro's not a millionaire. Like Trump's not a billionaire. You can't expect anybody in our Congress, in our state representatives, in Trump's cabinet, or any politician in general, and that's quite frankly where I'm at, is any politician. I do not trust any one of them to speak on affordability when you have the Adelsons that are donating $150 million to the Trump campaign. Trump's already a billionaire. God knows how much money Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro make, all of them. You can't sit here and tell us about the affordability crisis. Luke and I are sitting here as regular working Americans, as well as 90% of our population, which are regular working Americans, and how many of them are living paycheck to paycheck? How many of them are experiencing high grocery prices, high gas prices, which they have been a little bit lower these past couple of days. They just filled up. But an affordability crisis when it comes to housing. And then you have fucking Trump talking about 50-year mortgages.
It's a fucking slap in the face.
You're not going to make any sort of money until you're 30 years in.
It's a fucking slap in the face, and this is a guy who's a boomer. who, if you talk to boomers, most of them, the majority of them, are all disconnected from reality.
Well, and Trump's never once been connected. My father gave me a loan of $1 million.
$1 million, went bankrupt like 9 times.
Right, it continues to go on. Not a single one of the Trump family understands the hardworking American, just as Ben Shapiro. I saw Anna Kasparian say something about it where, has Ben Shapiro ever once worked a blue-collar job? Does he know what it's like to work?
No.
From the time I believe he was a young...
writer. He was a writer.
He was what? I would say 18. Like he started out.
He might have been a little bit lower.
Right away. Basically, he's never worked a blue collar job. He's never worked at a grocery store. He's never worked more than one job to make ends meet. It's just. I'm sick and tired of these people that we watch daily try to relate to the average American,
and they can't. And so I found another clip. This is back in, I think, February of last year, but it might have been of this year. And Ben was talking about retirement. And listen to what he says about retirement in America, because I think it'll show the audience how disconnected this guy is from regular people. Here we go.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy. Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden should not be running for president. Hey, Joe Biden is 81 years old. The retirement age in the United States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden has technically been eligible for Social Security and Medicare for 16 years, and he wants to continue in office until he is 86, which is 19 years past when he would be eligible for retirement. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Everybody that I know who is elderly, who has retired, is dead within 5 years. And if you talk to people who are elderly and they lose their purpose in life by losing their job and they stop working, things go to hell in a handbasket real quick. But
you work for me, Matt Walsh. That's all I can think about.
Hey, folks, Ben wants you to work until you fucking die. Ben wants you to go work and then die for Israel.
Yeah, he's gonna be on a yacht somewhere saying, "No, you can't retire, Matt Walsh. You work for me. Keep putting out your podcast."
But you know why he wants us all to keep working until we die? Because that's more tax money. And what's the tax money go to? It goes to Israel.
Oh, of course.
It goes to fucking Israel.
Yeah, of
Mask
course.
off moment. Again, this was a while back, but it just goes to show you this guy does not give a fuck about regular people. This guy does not give a fuck about working people. He always goes against this this family narrative. You always hear from him, from the Jordan Petersons, to go and have an adventure, and you always hear from him, like, if you have a problem, if you're not able to afford the place where you grew up, and this isn't the first time that Ben has said this, but it's the first time when he's been under such public scrutiny, post the Tucker cost is what everybody's calling it. He loves to say, oh, you are, you could just take all of this stuff away, go move somewhere else. We're like, without your family. I remember hearing Ben when I used to religiously watch every single day. He was talking about how his parents and then his in-laws are like minutes away from him back in California, and like, so rules for thee and not for me is what he's talking about.
Exactly.
It is just a mask off moment. And again, used to love Ben Shapiro, used to fucking love him, but over the past 2 years, it's been very imperative that he is not like us. Not to reference Kendrick Lamar, but like, he's literally not like us. He doesn't view Palestinians as human beings.
But none of them are. Like, really, genuinely, none of them are. They're so out of touch. We saw the out of touchness when it came to Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes on their podcast when he said, why aren't people getting married? And why, like the out of touchness from conservative talkers or conservative speakers are just so, it makes me infuriated. That's why I can only listen to a select few. And anytime that they talk about, trying to relate to average Americans, I tone it out, like
it's hard.
I tweeted something and nobody liked it because I don't have a following, but it's fine. It is what it is, _Shide. But like, if we could just have an actual politician run on higher or cheaper groceries, cheaper gas, affordable housing, and no foreign influence, and actually stick to those 4 principles.
That was a banger of a tweet.
That's all we need. Like, that's all we need. It's all we fucking need.
Yeah, and so it's just really frustrating, and we put that on the screen for everybody, so we'll be able to enjoy that and watch that.
Shout out.
But it is just such a shame that we see it is a truly mask-off moment from these conservative pundits, okay? And Ben is not the only one, so we're going to put this up on the screen for you because I really think it's important that we hammer this guy. We're not going to put that up. But it's Matt Walsh. We're talking about Matt Walsh. That's who I've been lamenting in these last couple of seconds. Specifically, he's talking about the affordability crisis, okay? And there's a tweet from a lesser-known influencer, obviously still very popular on X, and here is the tweet. It's Evan Kilgore, okay? The first tweet, he goes like this: "The American dream is dead. Nobody's coming to save us. There's no fixing the decades of damage to our economy and culture. The sooner you all realize that, the better." Maybe that's valid. Matt quote tweets that. He goes, "You have to reject this kind of doomerism. I have 6 kids. The idea that the American dream is dead forever and there's no way to fix anything and I'm supposed to just accept that and give up on my children's future is repulsive to me. I can never do that and I never will do that." The fight continues.
Now let's go what Evan said back to him.
He goes, "Matt, with all due respect, what do you make per year to work for the Daily Wire, which is essentially a leg of Israeli propaganda? You probably make 10 to 20 times the average American or more. Meanwhile, for me, a single provision in the appropriations bill will destroy my family's livelihood overnight if it passes. I'm not saying to give up the fight. Saying nobody's coming to save us is actually the exact opposite. I'm saying we need to save ourselves because the government isn't going to. But for many people, unaffordability is at an all-time high. The average American isn't going to be able to just vote a little harder and trust the plan a little more. The American people are drowning, and our elected officials are complicit." Matt goes, "You literally said there's no fixing it." Continuing on, he goes on to argue with people in the comments. Somebody else, Jake Jarvis, says, "Yeah, Matt, you make 50 times what a middle-class family makes. Sure, you're doing fine. Regular Americans working regular jobs are not fine, and it's getting worse. Not gonna lie, this is kind of tone-deaf post. Not everyone can make hundreds of thousands / millions of dollars." Matt says, "Yes, I'm concerned about regular Americans and don't want to give up on them or their future or my kids' future. How in God's name could that possibly be tone deaf? What the hell are you babbling about?" Okay, he doesn't get it. Continuing on, it's just back.
He's still.
Our leader quotes that. He goes, "You are paid millions of dollars by the Israel lobby to create insipid culture war slop," which is fucking true.
It is.
Meanwhile, your boss tells Americans that they aren't entitled to a job or to live in the city they were born in. Of course, you think the system can still be savage. You are owned by it. So 26K likes Matt's tweet had 50. So he ratioed him again. Okay, but
he ratios everybody, dude. If you ever see a Nick, I have his notifications on.
As do I.
And to freaking try to be one of the first responders to, or the first subtweeters to his tweet. If you're not on it within literally 6 seconds, there's 150 other people commenting on it. There's already 10,000 likes. It's crazy. He's got an army.
But what do you think of this, man? Because I really think Matt Walsh is out of touch. And
it's exactly what I said. It goes back to Ben Shapiro. It goes back even to Tucker Carlson. God love him. It goes back to everybody. Every single person who is, influential in this game are making enough money to be comfortable, are making enough money to come live where Luke and I live and be comfortable.
Tucker's been better on this, though, I will say that. But in terms of women, he's definitely out of touch.
No, but he's also one of those people that kind of is Tucker's obviously pro-family,
right?
And
of course.
And Matt Walsh to an extent is pro-family, and that's I think the problem that Nick has with Matt is he has all these morals and is pro-family and continues to, I guess, try to talk around every topic that doesn't involve Israel or Jewish people. He's got a problem with black people, with Muslims, with all these other nationalities.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But he never speaks on the Jewish topic and the influence that they have, but he speaks on everything else. And then when he's called out for it, he backtracks and say, well, I'm against any foreign entanglement, so I'm not pro-Israel, so how could I even argue that side? It's that's not really what we're saying, but it's also, let's shed some light on it. Let's talk about how all these people are paid by AIPAC and by the Israeli lobby, and how every time someone's questioned by it, like Ted Cruz, like Gavin Newsom, they all get kind of backed into a corner. And then as soon as someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Tucker Carlson or I was on a roll. What the fuck
Thomas
is this?
Massey.
Thomas Massey, come out and say something about it. Why are they the first ones to just kind of backtrack and say, Gavin Newsom?
That's interesting.
It's interesting. That's interesting. It's interesting. Well, it's interesting. 8 times he said interesting.
Yeah.
You know, or you have someone like Tucker Carlson, Ted Cruz, who got absolutely demolished in that interview earlier this year by Tucker Carlson. I mean, like, it just, how can you not wrap your head around the fact that, like, there's some obvious things that actual Americans care about, and right now the Israel topic is one of them. So if you want to stay relevant and stay in the limelight, you need to distance yourself from someone like Ben Shapiro, whose views are dropping off a cliff.
Yeah, 20K
The Daily Wire is
subscribers
crumbling. It is
lost
being
in 2
held up.
weeks.
It is being held up only by Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh. Like, those are the people that are really carrying that company right now. And so it's just amazing to me that, like, those people who have these quote unquote morals just won't touch this topic with a 10-foot pole.
And I think it's very interesting too. Okay, you look at Matt Walsh, and you said before he's very quick to condemn Muslims, right? And I think that's very much everybody on the pro-Israel, the pro-Zionist side. They're very quick to condemn Muslims. Why? Because those are the Jewish people's mortal enemy. I mean, we are too, but them more so because they've been in this land dispute for thousands of years. And so what do they do through the conservative propaganda, especially with the Laura Loomers, the Valentina Gomez's, either Jewish people or Christian Zionists? They're very anti-Muslim. Valentina Gomez calling it the religion of rape, which is like insane. If it was any other, if they were calling Jewish people whatever, they would, anti-Semitic, you can't say, they would ban them, take them off the air. But they use people like the Matt Walshes, and they know they're paying them 10, 20 times the average American salary. So of course he's going to take that money. Of course he's going to regurgitate the views. But then, just going back to, I mean, how out of touch can you be? This guy, the Evan Kilgrim, whatever his name is, was literally saying, like,
that was me.
You make so much more money than everybody else on average. Of course you can have 6 kids, and it's not about giving up, but it's about understanding that nobody can save us, and we have to save ourselves. And Matt still didn't get it in that tweet thread. That's what's so frustrating, is like, you are out of touch and you're blinded to what's actually going on. And, like, does he even watch Shapiro's show? Does he even see any of these clips?
There's a part of me that thinks that he purposely doesn't. Because if I worked for Ben Shapiro and I saw some of these things, and I would know that, like, I'm kind of backed in a corner about them, you know, like,
they all
don't necessarily agree with them. I don't know how I would watch this.
They all do, bro. I mean, when you listen to Andrew Klavan talk, which nobody watches fucking him, but when you listen to Andrew Klavan talk, Andrew Klavan is a self-proclaimed Christian, but ethnically he's a Jew. Yet you see him make a defense of the state of Israel every episode. It's the same thing
with, like, Officer Tatum. Like, that was a big like, influencer, I'm going to call him.
He was.
When we were pro-Trump, I was like, Officer Tatum, he's going around with Charlie Kirk when we were Charlie Kirk fans.
Like, I mean, 2018 when he popped up, like, he was huge.
Well, even in this last election where I was like, oh, this guy makes a lot of sense. And, you know, he's ratioing other black people that would walk up, and he would say, when's a better time to live in America? Listen, I was so pro Officer Tatum when he's talking about America, and even now when he has some sort of, you know, comments towards the Democratic side and stuff like that. But I mean, if you scroll through his Twitter, like, I follow him, and man, it's just fucking, dude, it's Zionist support, Israel support.
Israel's in his
every
mouth.
post, like, it's almost like if that was a $7,000 a month or $7,000 a post, like, that dude would be rich if he was getting $7K a post.
He's just slobbering on it. He's got Israel in his mouth.
It really is. And then he has a problem with Christian Zionists. And, you know, he tried to do the exact same Ted Cruz talking point where it was, you know, all of them do. The Holy Land, Israel, blah, blah, blah. It's like no one here is sitting here telling you to nuke Israel. No one's sitting here telling you to, you know, go to war with Israel or have problems with Israel, the actual land. It's the government. It's the genocide that they did in Gaza and continue to do. It's the ceasefires. It's the dead kids. It's the blaming Hamas for everything. I mean, like, simply every argument would be shut down with the argument of, if there's a school shooter in a school, do you bomb the whole school? If Hamas is using tunnels under a hospital, You know Hamas is going to survive. Do you double bomb the fucking hospital? No. And that's exactly what Dave Smith did on Piers Morgan when they had that debate, and Dave Smith slaughtered him. And it's like, it's still, to me, I don't understand it. And
Piers came around, though.
He did. I saw that. He wants to grill Nick on his show, and I'd be interested to see that. I saw that PBD clip.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, I don't care what your religion is. Like I've said multiple times on this show, I've struggled with religion. I'm trying to get back into church, all those things. I'm taking baby steps. And, you know, obviously a lot of the conservative influencers are Christians or Catholics. And, you know, they have this strong tie to Israel. But to me, it just doesn't make sense why you're an American sticking up for someone who does not support us in any facet.
It's true.
I don't care if they're buying our military weapons. We're sending them the money to buy our weapons.
And we have this healthcare crisis in our country. We literally pay for their free healthcare.
Did you see Tehran's running out of fucking water?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's because they don't care about, they have Goyim sitting here in America gobbling on the dong for Israel, and you're going to sit here and continue to shill for a country who cares about power. They're not even giving water to their own fucking people. They're letting their people run out of water. Not to mention how disgusting Bibi Netanyahu was. That clip he made to Iran when he was just pouring the water and taking a sip. Disgusting. But and you support that. And you continue to support that.
We have to understand, not to interrupt that wonderful rant. It was a beautiful rant.
Sorry.
But we have to understand what they view everybody else who's non-Jewish. They view us as goyim. They view us as subhuman.
Right.
And I think it's a very flawed way of thinking. It's a referendum on the religion that they all feel the same about this particular issue, whether it's left-wing Jews or right-wing Jews. There's a reason that Chelsea Handler and Ben Shapiro feel the same on Israel in their war with Hamas. Because, let's face it, the majority of them act as a monolith,
right?
Act as one group. I mean, it's never been more transparent than now.
But don't you see it like when? Sorry, not to cut you off.
No, that's it.
But don't you see it when like it's the same people that are the trust the plan, the Trump plan, trust the plan,
fucking
are the
retards.
same people when asked about the fucking all of the verses in the Talmud about, you know, they say that eating with goyim are the same as eating with the dogs,
right?
Spitting on the goyim, and Mary was a whore,
They do say that.
And all these disgusting things towards Christians. I still, to this day, will never let Officer Tatum live down the clip where he's interviewing Bibi Netanyahu, and he says, we had a great experience in Israel, Prime Minister, and only once was the priest that we were with spit on. What? Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. These people look ridiculous. How do you not see that you look ridiculous? Your side is losing, and that's the side you're going to go down with it. And it's not even MAGA. It's the Zionists. MAGA is not Donald Trump anymore.
MAGA
dead. No. I hear you, because MAGA is exactly what Trump stood for, and he trademarked that Make America Great Again. But there's still millions of Americans that want to make America great again, but they've changed their philosophy behind how that happens. MAGA is no longer Trump's side of Make America Great Again, because guess what? Like my buddy Luke here is going to pull up. Trump sold you out. Trump thinks there's not an affordability crisis. Trump thinks everything's peachy keen. Trump wants to keep blowing himself for the 8 wars that he's stopped, except for the 2 that he's promised, Ukraine and fucking Israel. Well, I guess, yeah, Israel and Gaza. Like, it's disgusting to me that we have a president that can sit here and be so far up his own fucking ass, and you people just sit here and say, trust the plan. The plan's over. I'm going to go for one more second, and then we'll play this clip.
Go ahead.
The plan's over. The midterms are next year. That means the Democrats are going to win. If it's anything like what we just saw in this past election, the Democrats are going to come out. They're going to win. They're going to win the House. They're going to win the Senate. We're going to then be sitting here, and by we I mean Republicans. We are going to run into an issue. We are going to sit here, lose the House, lose the Senate. So guess what? Now we have no more pool. So that's what's going to happen this next year, and then the following year, or this next year. Then they're going to continue to just try to impeach Trump like they always have. They're going to play these pity wars between Democrats and Republicans. They're not going to care about the average American anymore. And then the next 2 years after that, you're going to see people like Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio,
Vance.
JD Vance. They're all going to leave their positions to try to start campaigning for themselves. The MAGA movement, this election is dead. We had 1 fucking year. 1 year for mass deportations. 1 year to bring grocery prices down. 1 year to actually make something with these tariffs. I've been told these tariffs are a long game. I hope to God it's still true, but guess what? Now we're slowing down and taking away tariffs. MAGA's dead. MAGA in the Trump world is dead. And now it's time for the regular Americans to actually wake up and vote for a candidate that's not fucking JD Vance, who's backed by Silicon Valley billionaires, not backed Marco Rubio, who's a fucking warmonger. It's time to actually step up and look and search for an actual America First candidate that, like my tweet said, is running on transparency, no foreign influence, cheap groceries, cheap gas, and fuck it, I'll throw in their infrastructure, something that we've talked about here. I'm tired of our cities looking like shit. I'm tired of crime.
I agree.
And I'm tired of H-1B visas.
I agree.
Get them out!
And so to piggyback off of what you said, Donald Trump recently did an interview with Fox, Laura Ingraham specifically, who I strongly dislike. And you would have thought that this would be the most softball interview possible. But what you're about to witness is Laura Ingraham grilling Donald Trump as kind as she possibly could, giving him layup after layup, a softball pitch, a girl throwing the baseball, just giving him the expectation to hit it out of the park. Well, he's talking about H-1B visas. And listen to what he said about American workers not being able to fill up enough talented, skilled jobs. Here we go.
There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean,
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we
a
have
country
plenty of talented people
no,
here.
You don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn.
Oh, fuck this guy. This is the exact out-of-touch boomer shit that we are all fucking sick of. I just don't understand how it's America first to import people that eat their own shit from India and give them the mechanical engineering and all the STEM jobs. Shut. Tell me how that they have a national day where they throw shit at each other in the streets. A YouTuber vlogged it. Why do we want these people in our country taking the high-skilled jobs? My brother is currently in college right now getting a STEM degree.
I love your brother, but what a retard. Because he's not going to be able to match up with the talent from the poo slingers.
He's intelligent, but listen, like he's going there to get a mechanical engineering degree, a STEM degree. Because why? Because the school he's going to has a very good engineering program. Engineering is very interesting to him. And like a bunch of other Americans, they were sold the dream that if you go to college, you get a 4-year degree, you get a STEM degree, you educate yourself, you want to make a difference, you want to work in infrastructure, you can get that job. Right. You can be paid a lot of money. You could start a family, and it's a very high-paying job. Starting, it might be a little bit competitive, but you get, obviously, tenured. You have a better chance of making a higher salary, but it's a very good job. And it's for people that are bright. And the fact that we can't give Americans these high-skilled labor jobs when the job market is already cooked.
It doesn't matter about talent to them.
But it just doesn't make sense. Like now I'm seeing from, I believe Scott Bassett said that, he clarified Donald Trump. He said, we're bringing these H-1B visa workers over here to train Americans for these high. It's like, what the fuck? It's the same thing with Howard Lutnick saying, oh yeah, the payment for H-1B visas, it's one time, that's it. One payment of $1 million per H-1B visa to all these tech corporations. And then the press secretary goes, no, it's one time every year. It's like, what are we doing? Where's the consistency? That's the problem with this administration. Nobody fucking knows. To quote the guy from Succession, the guy that played the CEO, his name is Brian. It might be Brian Williams. Anyway, he goes, he's talking to his kids, and he said, you're not serious people. these are not serious people. None of these fuckers are serious people. The left was right about Trump in 2016. He's a con man. He's not going to do anything.
And you know how hard it is to have everybody in your administration continue to their job, their sole job right now is just to pretty much clarify what their senile fucking president is saying.
Dude, this is exactly what we had with Biden. The only thing with Biden is that you knew what was going on. You knew that he was compromised, okay?
Right.
Trump has said for the past 2 years when he was running, he said, oh, things are going to be different. Literally, he said things are going to be different. I'm not going to hire Mike Pompeo anymore. John Bolton's not going to be in my administration. Nikki Haley's not going to be in my administration. Like, I know what I'm doing now. And literally, the approval ratings in the tank, things are not good. I mean, things were bad under Biden.
But they're not good.
We're not looking rose-colored glasses, but I remember paying $5 for gas in an F-150. Like, shit was not good. Shit was not good. But we knew what we were up against. We saw that he was obviously not making decisions. We could kind of figure who was making the decisions behind the scenes.
But now it's a whole nother ballpark of problem.
This guy claimed to be America first, claimed to be MAGA. And MAGA, Make America Great Again, is... Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was not relying on other countries for our success. I thought we were going to get all the talent here and educate people here so that we could have jobs, so that the manufacturing plants could be open again, so that the steel mills could open once again, and we could have power here. Why do we have to go over there for power? Why do we have to go over there for jobs? It just doesn't make sense. And obviously, the reason. It's because these corporations, these tech corporations, these companies, they want to take advantage of the cheap labor. But the thing is, it's like it's indentured servitude, because these people that come over here on the H-1B visa, they're only allowed to work for this specific corporation. And if they stop for like 60%, 50% of what an American would make, if for some reason they say, we don't want to do this anymore, they have to go back to their country. So they're like slaves. I don't really fault them. I fault the corporations. I fault the politicians.
100%. And then you have disgusting people like on Christmas Day last year.
I know, fuck Vivek, dude. Fuck that guy.
Vivek and Elon Musk saying, if you don't support H-1B visas, fuck you in the face.
He literally said, go fuck yourself in the face. What we have to do, we live in Ohio, obviously. We've been talking about it a lot. We have to resist Vivek at every turn. And I'm not a fan of Amy Acton, the Democratic governor. No. She was one of the COVID warmongers, or you call her a warmonger. She was one of the people during COVID. She was the doctor that shut everything down, shut down the churches, shut down the gyms, shut down the small businesses, ruined people's livelihoods, but the liquor stores were still open. That was a little bit weird. And responsible for one of the worst times in my life, periods of time in my life, red-pilled me on the government, red-pilled me on everything back then. But I would rather have her over a guy that shat on Americans and belittled them and said, you're not working hard enough, and belittled all of American culture. We're talking about, he said, less sleepovers, more spelling bees. Like, that's a quote. This guy belittled American culture to the T. And he blamed American culture, modern day American culture, us, on why we're not successful. When in reality, American culture has been the same throughout its entire existence for the past 50 years, I would say. These things, part of like the 4th of July, cookouts, sleepovers, going to the movies, football games, sports. Yes, you have what's called a well-balanced lifestyle when you're a kid. And to belittle American culture and say you just need to study every single second of the day. It's like, your parents were not born here, dude. You're a fucking anchor baby. There was an interview, and maybe we could pull this up. There was an interview where he was being questioned by, I believe it was a CBS anchor. And
was this when he was barefoot?
No, this might have been a different thing. I'm going to try and pull this up. But he was being questioned by this CBS anchor. I think it was CBS. I could be wrong. But she's like, yeah, so were your parents citizens when you were here? And we're going to play this for you. And it's shocking, and it's radicalizing. But let's be honest here. What would you expect from Vivek Ramaswamy? He was already a scam artist. He became a billionaire because of an Alzheimer's drug, which was a scam. But we're just going to play this for you. But understand, he's not an American.
I believe in being consistent about my policies where...
So your father is not a citizen of the United States?
He's not.
Okay. And your mother, when did your mom take the citizenship test? Was it before or after you were born?
After I was born.
after you were born. Okay.
After years of being in this, following the legal process of becoming a naturalized citizen, she followed it through the legal process. And
So you gained citizenship through birthright then?
Well, but you gained citizenship through birthright citizenship in that sense too, right?
No.
I mean, every American. So what I want to do is revive a vision of citizenship.
And her ancestors were probably here.
Well, she's gonna explain.
Where every kid who
Wait,
enjoys.
I'm sorry, just to backtrack. So your father is not a citizen,
They came to this country legally. I believe in being consistent.
It was NBC. Okay, but right there, folks, this guy is not an American. This guy does not have our culture. This guy did not assimilate. He became a billionaire by scamming other people out of their money, selling his failed Alzheimer's company when it was at the top, and then it tanked because people found out the Alzheimer's drug was not real. It didn't work. And so we have to understand that this is exactly what MAGA was against. It was anti-immigration back in 2015, 2016. There was a problem. Our country was being woken up to the fact that we were being replaced demographically and in the labor force. And we were woken up to the fact that people were taking advantage of our country and using its assets and squeezing us out of all of the positions. Now you have this fucker who is technically an anchor baby. That NBC reporter grilled him, which is kind of funny. But we're going to let this guy dictate what we should perceive as American culture? It just doesn't make any sense. This guy's a fucking fraud. We need to resist this guy when he runs for governor in Ohio. We can't let this guy win. I'm not saying vote for the Democrat, but we can't let this guy win. Anti-Vivek, no matter what. We can't continue, we cannot continue to allow these people that are not American, that don't have America in their hearts, don't have American culture ingrained in them, American values. This guy does not have our values. Why are we going to elect him to govern us? That's it.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you. And I want you to pull up the video that you sent me of Kristi Noem, because it seems like no matter what,
Kristi Noem.
It seems like no matter what, it's inevitable. In the not Vivek, but it seems like everything that is happening currently is just
fuck her, man.
Inevitable. The immigration, both sides. It seems like this person who ran on a secure border and mass deportations is damn near the exact same as Joe Biden with an open border. Yes, there might be more or less immigrants coming across the border, but we sure as hell aren't shipping them out in the magnitude that they came in under the Biden open border. And now you have people like Kristi Noem who just need to read the room. Read the room, Kristi.
And
this isn't what we want.
She couldn't read the room in this video. We're going to play it for you. Here we go.
What is the administration's position on these visas?
No, we're going to keep using our visa programs. We're just going to make sure that they have integrity, that we're actually doing the...
What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? She's doing politician speak. She's answering a question by throwing a word salad. This is Kamala. She's doing the politician thing where she gets a question and she answers it with word salad, and then that's it. Let's continue.
vetting of the individuals who come into this country, that they want to be here for the right reasons, that they're not supporters of terrorists.
It doesn't matter, Kristi. It doesn't matter what reason they want to be here. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Guess what? We are in a time period right now where we're bringing in enough H-1B visas should be the if that is something that this administration is going to continue, that should be the one and only thing currently happening right now. We need to shut down the immigration program. We need to get control of illegal immigrants that are here.
All of them.
No one is coming over. Yes, they might be coming over now to build a better life for themselves, and that's the vetting process that you want to do. But this is not Ellis Island. This is not the America that all these other foreigners were coming here, and they're not foreigners, mind you. Like we've said before, they're Italians, they're Germans, they're all these different nationalities. They're not just fucking South Africans and Indians and all these people that are coming across that don't assimilate. Let me gather my thought here.
Gather your thought.
The Ellis Island immigrants that were coming across were the ones that were coming here to build the infrastructure, to build the skyscrapers and the buildings and the businesses. And now these people that are coming across are just trying to take advantage of the system. They're trying to take advantage of what our ancestors have done already. So why are we sitting here saying that we're going to vet them and we're still keeping the process, and we have a president who's going to continue to bring these people here? And mind you, this is also the same president who is pro bringing 600,000 Chinese students into our country.
It's terrible.
Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm so sick of it. And then you have people like Joe Rogan who are going to sit there and they're going to be upset at ICE and say that you can't deport these people. We have an immigration problem. And like it or not, you need to take your feelings out of it. When it comes down to the brass tacks, I don't care if you've been here for 2 years or 20 years. If you are here illegally, you need to go. And as an American, as Joe Rogan, as a Democrat, as someone who's going to sit here and say that it's inhumane, guess what? You break any law in this fucking country, they have zero problem putting you in prison. They have zero problem locking you up and throwing away the key. So why would we not get a hold of our immigration program? And again, you want to vet these people? That's fine. Vet the ones that are already here. I'll even say it is that far. Shut the immigration. Shut the people that are trying to come here. Shut that down. You want to vet the people? Let's vet the people that are here. If you're here and you want to, and you run the Mexican restaurant down the street, sure, stay here. That's fine. We'll vet you. You need to start paying your taxes because you haven't, because you've been here illegally for 20 years. We'll vet that person. Let's vet the ones that are already here, the criminals, the business owners, whoever is here illegally. But we need to shut the border down. We need to shut down the visa program. We need to stop allowing people in here. We lost 50,000 jobs in October. America lost 50,000 jobs in October. How many of them were H-1B visas? How many of them were immigrants? How many of them were Americans? That is where we draw the line. When Americans stop being able to work, that is when people start going crazy. That is when people start losing their jobs, and then they start losing SNAP benefits, and then they're being replaced by immigrants that are working at 50% lower wages than Americans. That is how this country gets fucked. And I'm not trying to say, I mean, I am. I don't know why I'm sugarcoating it. The Great Replacement, it's in full effect. It is in full effect. And now, not only are they trying to replace you with foreigners, you have Elon Musk who's saying that we're going to replace you with robots and AI. And it's just, it's disgusting what this country's gone to. Matt Walsh, fuck you. Your kids are going to be fine. Invest your fucking millions. Your kids aren't going to have to work a goddamn day in their life. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
You're blackpilling and I'm not going to help. How many illegals do you think there are? Roughly.
Here?
In this country, yeah.
10 to 15 million.
I've heard there's 50. Some people say 60. Let's be conservative and say 50 million. If there's 50 million illegals here, wow, where do they live? They gotta live in homes. Now, it's Section 8 housing and it's regular housing. Did you know that 30% of FHA loans last year were from illegals?
11 million as of early 2022, 14 million at the end of 23.
Somebody's saying
it's predicted.
All time, though. I've heard 50 million. This is what Trump said. Trump said there's 50 million illegals here, okay? Again, to go back on my point, they have to live somewhere.
Right.
What do we have in this country? We have a housing crisis. What's the housing crisis? Things are too expensive. Homes are too expensive. Well, why is that? Because there's not enough homes. Now, what the fuck do you think would happen if you deported all 50 million people that are here illegally in this country? I don't care if they were here for 5 minutes. I don't care if they were here for 5 years. I don't care if they were here for 50 years. The fact is, if you've been living here so long and you've established yourself, but you haven't made yourself a citizen, I'm sorry, you are now here at the expense of us. Our lives fucking suck compared to our parents. Compared to our grandparents, we are living in hell. If you deport these 50 million people, then you will have millions of homes that are vacant. And what will these vacant homes do? They will quench the thirst of new people that want to get into the market that want a home. by the rules of supply and demand, the home prices will go down because there will be more homes for sale. It is common fucking sense. Why do we have to be so compassionate? Don't you get that these people that you're being so compassionate about are fucking you? They are fucking us. They're squeezing us. If we could just be a little bit less compassionate. Why don't we take our own side? All you white liberals, Jennifer Welsh, what the fuck? Why are you so self-hating? Take a little bit of pride. I know you're divorced, but you can at least pretend to be happy. Fuck. But through all that Botox, you should at least try to understand what the right is saying. Yes, you can be self-hating all you want and talk about how white people, how Americans have no culture, but we don't even have an opportunity to make any culture because we can't fucking buy homes. Fuck. So what am I saying, right? Here's to get out of the black pill. You gotta deport the illegals.
Agreed.
You have to deport the people that are here illegally because
Agreed.
if we do, our lives will be so much better. We
Agreed.
won't have infrastructure, jobs that are being taken up. We will have the ability. Did you know when they did that, when ICE did that, they did a raid on a meatpacking plant in Kansas. I think Nick was talking about this a couple days ago. They did a raid on a meatpacking plant in Kansas. A lot of illegals were working there, okay? Now, I've heard all my life that Americans don't want to do hard jobs.
Right.
They don't want to do hard labor jobs, that they're above it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Guess
about.
what? The next
I don't think
day,
it was meat packing. Wasn't it like a Nissan or wasn't it like a...
whatever it was a factory. It was a blue-collar
Yeah.
job, something like that. Hard work. The next day in Kansas, there was a line wrapped around the building for applications. People want to fucking work. I hate hearing how Gen Z and millennials don't want to work. And I heard this even 2017, 2018, 2019. And right around COVID, too, they were talking about, yeah, millennials just don't want to work. And then I grew up and I was at the point where it's time to have a job, and I see my friends that have college degrees and like they can't get a job, but the boomers are still blaming the young generations like they are out of touch. I understand what the millennials were saying back then because we're feeling this too. This is not an anomaly. Like there's reasons why this happened, and these generations are not lazy, but the boomers are out of touch, and people like Trump are out of touch, and they campaigned on mass deportations, and we're not getting them, and it's very frustrating because it's truly wolf in sheep's clothing.
We were duped, and we've been saying it for months. We were duped, and we feel stupid, and at the end of the day, we voted for this, and quite frankly, we didn't vote for this. We voted for this, but we didn't vote for this.
But this is not the end-all, be-all. This has to be just the beginning.
This is the awakening. This is where the Great Awakening starts. And I promise you, the Republican Party, who's not listening to this show, if you run J.D. Vance, if you run Marco Rubio, you are assured to lose the election. It is no longer, we're no longer looking at this. Our generation is no longer looking at this as the lesser of two evils. We have a great awakening happening, especially with men our age in this generation, where, like I just said, it's not the lesser of two evils. We're going to make you work for it. And in that regard, we are the reason that you won this election. Gen Z is the reason that you woke up, or that we woke up and started going back to church and got involved in this campaign because we were so in disagreement of the left. Well, guess what? The left may learn from their mistakes. They may stop pandering to the 1% of the LGBT and the trans in school.
It's literally
and
all
all
they
these
have
things.
to do.
Guess what? We had one side that was well, Kamala Harris was pretty dumb, but at least she had something to say about the housing crisis. At least she had something to say about groceries and families and lesser fortunate people, and they were pandering to the wrong side.
It wasn't going to happen, but
I agree. But you also have this Republican side now that is so out of touch that is telling you to your face that you are not talented, and there's not a fucking affordability crisis.
yeah, at least with Biden, he wasn't saying that you're not good enough. He wasn't openly pandering to all of these corporations. And I think actually in his farewell speech, he mentioned how we have a problem and to be very watchful and very cautious about a tech oligarchy coming. I mean, he was right about that. He probably wasn't lucid at the time.
Yeah, he was. They hyped him up on fucking B12 shots.
But we saw there were problems, but at least we didn't have this. Yes, of course, we were being told that things that weren't happening or things that were happening at the time weren't happening. I mean, I remember that very well. The whole Let's Go Brandon thing. Like, there were people that the majority of the country was very unhappy with the government back then. But then we voted in what feels like the same thing. I mean, Trump's getting up there. He's going to be the oldest president when he is at the end of his term in 2028. Like, I think it just makes me so mad.
Like, I believe Owen Schroyer tweeted it, and he said,
I saw that tweet.
He said that this feels like the Biden administration with a more secure border. I believe that's something that he
That's
tweeted,
literally
and
it.
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's it.
If not worse, at least Biden didn't look at you in the face and tell you that there wasn't an affordability crisis or that you weren't talented.
And maybe he really did think that we weren't in a recession. I mean, he wasn't lucid. So maybe.
And the Bidens are also rich.
Yeah.
You're telling me he's not over in Martha's Vineyard? Like, I mean, he's fine.
It's just really, it's a shame because these years were wasted, and I think we are going to get eventually when our generation gets power and we get into the institutions and volunteer for the political campaigns, and we have more people that are starting to realize our message, realize that the Gen Z voting bloc is as powerful as it is. Eventually, we are going to be able to take back this country,
right?
But will it be too late? That's the thing.
I agree.
That's the thing.
I agree. Thank you for having me back on, Luke Papala.
Dude, of course. I mean, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Folks, please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like. Give us a comment. Don't let it be a nasty one. We're doing memberships now for as low as 99 cents a month. You can contribute to the channel, to these podcasts, so we can make the content better for you. Thank you very much. We appreciate you watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.